Hello, Unstoppable Writers. If you are here watching live, go ahead and put in here. If you are watching the replay, type in replay. My name is Deanne Welsh, and today I'm going to be sharing my #1 productivity strategy for writers, my #1 productivity tip for writers. So again, if you're here live, put here. If you are watching the replay, put replay. Now, before I dive into this strategy, I wanted to talk about two different points. And I know they may seem similar to each other, but the first point that I want to make is that every single big goal that we have can be broken up into a series of small steps. If you are a creative, a dreamer like me, you probably love having these big goals, thinking about the future, the books you want to write, the stages you want to speak on. And it's wonderful to have those big goals, but we get to realize that every single big goal can be broken up into a series of small steps. The second thing I want us to talk about as we head into my #1 strategy for writers is that every success is a series of small steps forward. So often the people that we admire, that we're looking up to, we see where they are, we see, the level of success that we long for or that we are aiming towards, and sometimes it's easy to think that those mentors, those examples, those role models, that they were simply born into that success, that it happened overnight, that it's just, they're lucky, or they're just stronger, or they have more connections than I do. But I really want us to think about how every single success that we see, it's because of a series of small steps forward that they took. And so for ourselves, when we think about these dreams, whether it's I want to finish my book this year, or I want to achieve this goal, it can all be broken down into a series of small steps. So now for my #1 tip and strategy for writers when it comes to productivity and maximizing your time is that we get to embrace tiny goals, small goals. And if you are in my membership, The Collective, we talk about this every single week. And this is something that revolutionized my productivity, the way that I approach my writing, my other projects. And so this is one of those things that if you've known me for any amount of time, I repeat it over and over again. But always think about what is the smallest step that I can take to move forward? What is the smallest way that I can break down those big goals to move forward? And I wanted to explain why this is my #1 strategy, productivity strategy for writers. And it is because #1, when we break our big, audacious goals into small steps, we are setting ourselves up for success rather than failure. So I want you to imagine that you decide, okay, 2020 is the year I'm going to get fit, I'm going to work on my muscles. And so you decide, I'm going to hire a personal trainer, I'm going to go to the gym and start working out. And let's say your very first day, you haven't worked out in years, your very first day you show up and the trainer says, okay, I want you to run 3 miles, I want you to do, 200-pound pull-ups and all, they have this long list of things for you to do, not taking into account where you are, maybe your time, your current fitness level. And the moment that that happens, that trainer has now set you up for failure because you won't be able to run all those miles without training. And so often we do this to ourselves. We expect ourselves to go from zero, from not doing anything, to now I'm going to write 3 hours every single day on my book. And what we're doing is we're setting ourselves up for failure rather than setting ourselves up for success. And when we break our goals into small steps, so let's say we think about what's the minimum viable that I can do to take that next step forward. Maybe it's I'm going to write 5 minutes a day. I'm going to write 1 page a day. And so now that goal, because you made the first step so small, you can't say no to it. It's simple, it's easy, it's a no-brainer to show up and do that work. So number one, it sets us up for success rather than failure when we set tiny goals, when we take small steps forward consistently. The second thing that it does is it allows us to move forward from a place of power instead of a place of punishment. So again, if we are treating ourselves like that trainer who is pushing too hard, having unrealistic expectations, giving us like too much to bite off and chew at one time, then we are setting ourselves up to start feeling guilty if we don't make it, to start feeling shame, and those feelings of not being enough, feeling punished for not achieving. Versus if we look at where we are, we look at what's the smallest step that I can take to move forward, then we're coming from a place of power because we know I have the time to do this, I have the resources to do this, this is an easy yes for me. And what I've noticed happens when we set those small goals that are easy to say yes to, easy to execute, easy to like check off our list, then we become more motivated, more energized. And often, like if I set a goal, I'm going to write 10 minutes a day, I often find myself energized and writing longer. But if I had set a goal, I'm going to write 2 hours every single day on my book, what happens is I find excuses. Suddenly I'm cleaning my house because this step that I set is too big. And so instead of taking that huge step, I'm procrastinating, I'm getting distracted, I'm calling all my friends, seeing who can meet me for coffee right now. But if I had set it super small and achievable, I'm much more likely to follow through and do it. So that is my number one productivity strategy for writers that I repeat constantly to myself, to each of my coaching clients, to the members of the collective, to break your big goals into small steps so that you are operating from a place of success, seeing that it's achievable, seeing those small next steps forward, and so that you're operating from a place of power instead of punishment and feeling like you're failing before you even began. So I hope that encourages you today. If you are here watching live or if you're watching the replay, in the comments, I would love to hear from you. What is your next small step that you are going to take this week on that project? Whether it's your book, whether it's writing your next blog post, maybe you have a fitness goal you're working on. In our group, we tend to focus on writing, but each of us, as a writer, we are whole people, so we have other aspects, and you're always welcome to share those in the comments as well. So let me know in the comments, what is your one small goal, small step that you are going to take on your project this week? I can't wait to hear from you. I love seeing your comments, seeing who's here, and we will talk again soon. Have a great week.